G'day, how yous going? In this video I will be painting a Chaos Legionnaire from the Punisher's Warband. This one was another request from a viewer, so if you have anything you'd like to see painted, please let me know in the comments below and I'd love to give it a go. But starting off, for this very unique old school warband, I primed the model with a white spray and began layering over the armour with Wraithbone from Citadel, keeping the paint thin and applying 2 to 3 thin coats for a solid colour. I then began shading the armour with Skeleton Legion from 2 thin coats, watering it down further than normal, so about 2 parts water, 1 part paint. Try to keep the brush strokes finishing in the darker recess areas, but overall hitting most of the Wraithbone areas. You may even want to push it further, and if so, just let each coat dry completely and apply another until you're happy with the result. And once that bit was done, I hit the deeper recesses between the trim with the same glaze method as before, but with Steel Legion Drab from Citadel, just a slightly darker brown. And the trick with glazing is that it's not just the amount of water you add, but also how much is on your brush before applying. So don't overload your brush. Remember, the more water in the mix, the more uncontrollable the flow. Now going back to Wraithbone, we are going to clean up the larger surface areas of the armour. Still using the glazing method, as this keeps layers smooth but also helps with creating a clean blend between shadow and highlights. It's not as time consuming as you think. Actually, Wraithbone is a very strong colour and won't struggle going over the thin glaze layers from previously. But just be mindful not to go too close to the recesses or you'll lose those lovely shades built from before. I'd say the trim bit here was kind of optional. If you want it to be brass like later on, then feel free to leave this bit out, but I went with bone, so I layered that over in the same way. Moving on from the bone for a bit, I used AK Interactive's dark grey and began filling in the rubber joints between the armour. The only little trick here I can suggest is to keep the paint almost at wash consistency. It'll limit the amount of brush strokes needed, which will also lower the chance of making a mistake. Then once the grey was covered, I shaded it with a heavy watered down black from AK Interactive. The wash consistency made the paint run directly and effortlessly into the recesses, creating a natural depth and highlight without needing to do so manually with a steady hand. I then continued with the same black on some other areas of the model, like on the backpack, the horns and the hands, and also even on the shoulder symbols. I gotta say, it was a massive sweat fest every time you come close to that bone with any black. But I will say I do like this black from AK, specifically for many reasons, but it's also extremely effective going over white, where other blacks have struggled and have required a few coats. The accessories for the Punishers could be whatever you like. I couldn't find any art showing what they would be, so I chose a neutral grey. And this one here is from AK Interactive as well, and I just layered it over all the sashes and ribbons found around the model. And for the weapons, I used blue-black from Pro Acryl, layering over everything to save time, but also to help the metallic stick instead of over white primer. But before then, for any leather pouches, I used cuirass leather from 2 thin coats, applying thin layers for a smooth coverage. Returning to the sash and ribbons, I shaded with dark grey from AK Interactive, with thin, stronger lines in recesses and light glazes over more open areas for depth. I then highlighted the edges of the grey cloth with Carcharodon grey from 2 thin coats. And when edge highlighting, it's very helpful to keep the paint controlled, so less water than normal here and very little on the brush. And as we did with the grey, I gave the pouches a highlight of Mournfang Brown from Citadel, A little bit different application here though. I set a solid line and then glazed thin layers towards that line for a more leathery sort of tone and texture. And if you feel like it, a couple of light nicks of Steel Legion drab go a long way. Beginning on the metallics around the model now, I filled in the silver areas with dark silver from Pro Acryl, and any of the brass areas with rusty gold from AK Interactive. Again, up to you, but this is where you do the trim on the legs where I did the bone instead previously. And once these areas were solid, I ran a good amount of Nuln Oil over them, actually letting it run a little over into the bone areas where the trim met plate to really separate the two. And once the Nuln Oil was dry, I returned to the casing of the weapons with grey blue from AK Interactive as a little highlight, and also re-established an edge shine of rusty gold along the trim. Now it was at this point I realised what was next and decided to stencil out some designs with Skeleton Legion. I chose this because if I messed up or changed my mind, Wraithbone would go over easily, and I will openly admit this was not easy and I made many mistakes along the way, so I'd really recommend doing this first. But grab your best brush and make sure the paint isn't too thin that it's uncontrollable, and carefully stencil out your skeleton design, drawing the lines a little thicker than you want in the end. So if the black is a little messy, it will hopefully be over Skeleton Legion and not Wraithbone. And then the next step is to fill them in. I used rubber black from AK Interactive. I like the slight brownish tinge to this black and it suits the rest of the skin. Again, steady hands and smooth paint is really all there is to it. The paint needs to be smooth, yes, but controlled to achieve these small lines. I couldn't get a good angle for the eyes, so a lot of the footage was lost, but I filled in the lenses with Caribou Crimson, then thin white lines in the centre. And that's it, a Legionnaire from the Punisher's Warband. Great suggestion and such a great challenge. Love testing my freehand on this one too, and love seeing an older Warband mentioned. The trim on the armour did make the bone designs difficult, but work with it as best you can with these new kits, and please let me know how yours go in the comments. But thanks again for watching. Please comment below anything you'd like to see in the future. Please like if you enjoyed the video too, it does mean a lot. And also check out my recent poll I posted in regards to my next pre-Primarch video and what Legion you'd like to see before the others. Thanks again.